It's heavy. Famous love. Yeah, I gotta keep it trendy on my soul. I'm the most selfish person that I know. Here we go, down the rabbit hole. Got a couple carrots around my neck.
Alright, we're live. Welcome back to Mess Little Moguls. It's your boy, the one with the Scarface, your boy Scarface. And today we got another episode. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for all the support on the podcast. I know a lot of you guys like come over from TikTok and listen, and you guys give me good feedback, especially on the Instagram and stuff like that. But I know a lot of you guys have been asking for just like a girl's perspective on certain things, just because it's mainly just a guy talking, about guy situations and like how guys think, most guys. But so today, I was talking with her earlier, and she was like, yeah, I'm down to do a podcast, and hopefully we can have her on a lot more because she actually is pretty open to talk about a lot of things. Sadly, we couldn't do it in person just because she's all the way in, I think it's like freezing in LA right now, but she's all the way out in LA. We have Janet, who's, I saw your last name, and I'm not going to try to pronounce it because I'll probably butcher it.
No, I want you to try it.
It was like, it starts with a G.
Yeah, try it. Everyone has to try it once.
It was like, no, I'm gonna straight butcher it.
You have to try it once.
It was like,
I can't help you.
It was like, fuck. It was like J. How would you say that? That's too hard. How do you say your last name?
It's Gedjeyan.
Gedjeyan?
Gedjeyan. It's Armenian.
Yeah, I know you're Armenian, but I just didn't know how to pronounce it because I know some of the letters you guys pronounce a little bit differently.
Oh yeah, no, it's Gedjeyan, but that's why I say Nurse Janet G, because no one's gonna remember Gedjeyan, so Janet G.
Yeah, but anyways, thank you for jumping on and talking to us about some of these topics. I know, I think we found each other on TikTok, and then from there.
How did we meet? I think you started following me, and then I started following you, and then I was like, this guy's actually really funny. But then I had to go in there and put my 2 cents in because now I'm out there in the dating world, and I was like, I got to get out there and no.
See,
like some of the stuff that these poor women are going through.
And I think that's why it's going to be good, just because, well, like we were talking about earlier, not a lot of people like to talk about some of these topics, especially if they're in a relationship already, because they don't want the person they're with to get mad. And since I'm single, you're open to talk about a lot of these things. And that way we can give a perspective on, like, from a guy and from a girl. So hopefully,
I'm so excited
because I know you commented on one of my recent posts, and you're like, I need to talk about this. And what better way to do this? And of course, later on, hopefully we can do some of the TikToks too, because I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know if you've seen when I do the girl versions too.
I think I've seen a few of the clips,
and they're good. But the thing is, like, they say they're open to talk about things, but then once you get,
but they're not.
You can tell they get like really closed really quick. You know what I mean? Me, you ask me something, I'm just like, yo, like this is.
You've seen my like Instagram when I do the Anon boxes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like I'm open to talk about it?
Yeah. That's why I was.
The only thing I have to be careful about is that like I have to make sure I don't give too many hints for who it is,
mm-hmm.
and then I have to be like careful with like certain people who like follow me, because if they put 2 and 2 together, what if they like send it to that person? But other than that, I'm like, no, I have to get out there and I have to help girls, because I wish like my friends helped me, but nothing could have prepared me for this dating world nowadays. Everyone told me the dating world nowadays is insane. It's insane.
Oh, it's wild out here. Like it's to the point where you're just like, do I really want to like go on a date?
I'm going to just be a very rich mom and auntie who just spoils the entire family. And I have a boyfriend in each country and same each state. And I think that's going to be my life. I've come to terms with that is going to be my life. And I'm okay with it.
All right. Hey, that's perfect. Because I feel like I'm in the same boat. Like I'm just going to be a rich bachelor doing my own thing and having multiple girlfriends. I don't think I'd be able to do that. But just so people can get like a little bit of a backstory, what do you do for a living? Because I know you're killing it.
Yes, so I am a registered nurse and I specialize in aesthetics. So I work at the Things We Do it's based in Los Angeles, but I'm the aesthetic nursing director. So aside from treating patients day in and day out, I manage the offices. I manage the trainings at the offices. We are opening up a Hawaii location, so I'm going to be out there. My other business, which is my own, like I work very closely with the things we do. They're like, they've given me so many opportunities. But the other business that I do is Nurse Janet G. So it's like mentoring for people who want to get into my field, because I used to do bedside nursing and I hated it. So then I left and I found aesthetic nursing and I love it. It's very lucrative. I'm happy. I never call off of work. If I do, it's because of an emergency, versus when I worked in the hospital, like I hated it. I would never go to work. So I try to mentor other nurses and help them get into this field. And then if they are in this field, I offer like coaching calls to like review their contracts. I have like a content calendar on Etsy to help them grow their social media. So pretty much in the realm of nursing, that is what I do. And I love it.
Yeah, and like that's what I saw. So I love it when I find and see other like people who are like entrepreneurs, killing it in whatever they're doing, because that motivates me, just because and I know this is not easy, and it's also not a 9-to-5 job. You're always working, like something's always in the back of your head. It just like, say you work at Starbucks, you get off, you work from 9 to 5, you get off at 5, you're done. Like you don't need to think about like what are they doing, like what they're doing in the afternoon. Like I wonder if
it takes a very specific person to do what we do, like what you do, what I do. It takes a very specific like mindset to get into, to be able to commit to something like this, right? Like I don't think it's for everyone. Some people don't have the drive like we do.
No. And so also I want people to know that you were, obviously we're not going to put names out there, but you were previously married.
I was.
Divorced. And now you're single, right?
So backstory, I got married when I was 22. I'm now 30. I got married when I was 22. I started the process for the divorce early last year, so over a year ago. I didn't date for the first like several months. Really, I didn't start dating until like October of last year. And then slowly I like trickled into the dating world, and I'm like, oh God, but I don't regret like initiating my divorce. I will say that. I think it's good. Like we're really good friends now. We co-parent really well. We have 2 beautiful kids, and I'm happy. I could tell he's happy too. So we're good.
Yeah.
It's not like a nasty divorce,
Yeah, and that's the cool thing. Like, you guys knew when it was over. Like you guys know when it's over, and some people will try to make it work for the kids. That's actually a big topic that I talk about for like on the TikToks. So a lot of people they'll be like, oh, I stayed way too long with my husband or whoever, baby daddy, for the kids. But at the end of the day, like I think it's worse for the kids if you guys are in like a toxic relationship. If they see you guys constantly fighting, not happy with each other, do you think you find that to be worse? Yes or no?
It's, what it is too. Like I grew up, I don't know how you grew up, but my mom and dad divorced when I was 5 years old. So I didn't grow up with seeing any kind of like relationship, anything like that. So obviously the last thing I wanted was to be divorced, but I also want my kids to like grow up like seeing love. Cause then hopefully if they decide to get married, hopefully they don't, hopefully they go about it a little bit smarter than I did. You know what I mean? Like I want them to see love. So like my ex and I, we actually would never fight in front of the kids. We never fought in front of anyone. Like when I told people we were getting divorced, my friends told me they didn't eat for 3 days because no one could believe it. Like, because we were like literally the perfect couple.
On the outside.
Perfect couple. Yes. And only he and I knew like why I was like, divorcing him. But it's just funny because like, I want my kids to like grow up and like see like a healthy relationship. I don't think like necessarily our relationship was healthy. I think it was a lot of like passive aggressive, like I would keep my mouth shut. And then the minute like towards the end, when I started like opening up my mouth about things that like bothered me, that's when fights started happening more and more. It's like, I don't want my daughter to grow up like, oh, mom walked on eggshells. Because that's not my person. You kind of see how I am now. That's not my personality at all. No. Like I say it like it is.
Yeah. And like a lot of the comments on those posts that I've made, they talk about how a lot of the kids were like, why didn't you just leave? I think it was worse you actually staying in the relationship. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they think they're doing like a huge, not a favor, but like the right thing by staying with the parent, like with whoever you're with for the kids. But in reality, I don't think if my parents were like that, I would have said the same thing. But unfortunately, like my parents, they're amazing together. They've been together like 30 plus years. And
Aw.
and they're like always like not fighting with each other, but like messing around with each other, like goofing
I
around.
love it.
And they still go on dates and stuff like that. So that's what you should see, not like fighting and yelling and what's wrong with
exactly.
What's wrong with mom.
And then, what's another question I get a lot, or like a lot of my friends or like followers will reach out to me and they'll DM me and they'll say, how do you make it like look so easy? Like, I'm thinking of leaving my husband of whatever years. This is the situation. I'm doing it because I see you and you're killing it and it's so easy for you. And I'm like, let me get on here right now and tell you guys, it is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Mm-hmm. Like, it is the hardest thing. Of course, it doesn't mean it's wrong. Like, I had to do it. I don't regret it one bit. But if you think like you initiating a divorce is going to be easy just because you see someone like me, you guys just see me like on Instagram. You don't see like the struggles. Like, it's like I actually started posting like, when my fountain broke. Mm-hmm. When I posted that, I wanted people to see like, how much I cried because it was like one of the biggest things I had to do on my own. It's like so many things, like the water heater. Like, I'm literally one person now doing all this stuff that I was used to like a man doing for me. And it's like, it's by no means is it easy. You're a single income. You got a house, you got kids. I have 2 dogs. I have to work. So by no means is it easy. So like, I think people think like they see me doing it and they're like, well, if she can do it, I can do it. It's like, you definitely want to put some thought into it. I don't think people should stay together for the kids, but I always tell my friends, like, look, you're going to fight with whoever you're with. You just have to decide, is that person worth fighting with for the rest of your life? For me, it was no. I was like, this person clearly doesn't understand me. I don't even think he's my friend. I don't even think he wants to understand me. There's no effort. So no. But a lot of my friends, it's like they've been with their partner and they're like best friends. And I'm like, that might be worth a shot to like go to therapy, because I didn't do any of that. I was just like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I didn't try any of that because I was like, we're not even really like friends. Now we're friends, but only because we see each other once a week. Like, that's it.
It's like you guys kind of have to see each other like once a week.
Yeah.
So I have a question for that, because I know a lot of people are actually thinking something like that. Was it scared? Like, were you scared or nervous or anything like that leading up to like you initiating the divorce? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people go through like, dang, I want to do it, but I'm too scared that this might happen. I'm scared of how he's gonna react. I'm scared how what my family and friends are gonna think.
Okay, so I thought, which is crazy to say this, and if he ever listens to this, I'm sure I always tell him, you know what you did. Like, this shit I put up with that I didn't tell anybody. Mm-hmm. I had been contemplating divorcing him for like 3 years. Dang. 3 years consistently. So that's why when people say like when women leave, it's not like you wake up and you're like, today I'm going to get a divorce. It's literally like you've been thinking about it for years. So I had been thinking of leaving him for 3 years. And then obviously I got I got pregnant with our daughter in 2020. So it was like beautiful and I loved it. Every marriage has highs and lows, but I was like, yeah, no. Like, after I went back to work, I was like, this is not working out. So was I scared? I was more so scared of like, where am I going to live? Am I going to be able to do this on my own? I was so afraid to tell my mom and my family. So I actually went to their house, and it was crazy because I told them, I think before I told him. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I think I mentioned it to him. I said, I'm not happy, and he was like, well, let's just keep trying. Just give me like a couple of weeks. And I said, okay, that's fine. We can try a little bit. And then I went to my mom's house for a barbecue. And at that point I had stopped eating. Like, I was so stressed out. And my mom kept looking at me. And then my sister was doing my hair. And I told my sister. And then my mom came in and I told my mom. And my mom and I didn't talk for 3 weeks after that.
Dang. Because
they said, her and my grandma, I was raised by my mom and my grandma and my grandpa. My grandpa passed away. So it's like my mom, my grandma, very strong matriarchs of the family, especially my grandma. They're just like strong women, But at the end of the day, it's like, their daughter's initiating a divorce. Like, that's also very weird in Armenian culture. Mm-hmm. So my grandma was like, well, we know it's not his fault because he's so perfect. It's your fault. And my grandma was like, if people ask us, we're going to tell them it's our daughter's fault.
Dang.
I was like, well, that's nice. And even my mom, she would come, and I tell her to this day, like, she would come to my workplace for treatment. And like, she'd be like, we love Patrick. We love him. It's Janet's fault. And I was like, Mom, like, you can't do that, you know? But I didn't talk to her for 3 weeks. For 3 weeks. And that night I came home and I remember I like picked a fight about something. And then I was like, you know what? This isn't fair. Like me picking a fight about something that's so stupid. I think he like left something in my parking spot in the garage. And I was like, this is also not fair to him, you know? Like that wouldn't bother me if anyone else did it. Like clearly there's something else. So I literally put the kids to bed, sat him down on the stairs, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, I need a divorce. And then he started crying, and I literally put my hands on him, and I said, please don't beg me. Like, it's done. Do not beg. It only makes me more sad, but it makes you look bad. Stop begging me. I want a divorce. And then, you know, typical, he's like, is there anyone else? And I was like, no. I was like, I literally just don't feel safe with you. I don't feel, not safe in like a physical sense, more like, as progressive as I am, I think men provide like a security for women. Like that's what I want in my life. You know, I want someone I can lean on. And I don't feel like he was like emotionally secure. Like I feel like he had so many things he needed to work on and didn't want to work on. And then I would be like the collateral damage. So I was like, I just don't feel safe with you. I'm not in love with you anymore. I haven't been for a while. And then shortly after that, like things got nasty. Like he got really mean. And we lived in the same house.
Dang.
And then finally, oh my God, he started bringing girls to the house and I started like torturing them. It was so nice.
It's funny. That's funny because it's crazy how you bring up your story. Like you said that you were done, like, but you kept trying. So in my situation with my ex, we were together for almost 8 years, right? Like we were about to hit 8 years and we were never married in anything like that. But like you knew... I knew that relationship was over at 5 years. Like I was not into it anymore. Like, but we just kept trying and trying, thinking that for some reason something was gonna change. Like it was gonna go back to how it was like when you first started dating. You know what I mean? Like you thinking it's gonna go something back close to that, but it's not because they would. She would be. It wasn't just me. It was the both of us, right? We both had our issues, and then we would be like, oh, we're going to change. We would change for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then go right back to how like we are because that's who we are. Like you can't change who you are. And so. Okay,
but be honest. Why didn't you leave?
You get comfortable. And you think, not just comfortable. So now looking back, because I actually do look back in like different things, I didn't want her to be with anybody else. You know what I mean? I talk about it all the time. It's like the whole male ego thing. You don't want to see that person happy with somebody else. You know, like you don't want them to see, like that's why exes get upset because you don't want to see that your ex happy with somebody else. You don't want to see her do better with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, so at that time I was like, no,
so weird.
I didn't want anybody else to be with her. Right. Like I was like, if I don't make her happy, nobody else is going to make her happy. So I have to try to like sit here and like make this work. Right. Even though I wasn't happy. And that was a big thing why I didn't want to leave was because the thought of her being with somebody else kind of like it killed my ego. You know what I mean? Like thinking of some other guy touching your girl. I was just like, nah, that's not happening. You know, that's not happening.
So how did you guys end up breaking up? I don't know if you talked about it. I didn't hear this story. Like, how did you guys end up breaking up? Was it like you or her, or was it both?
So it was me. A lot of because at one point you realize that it's not working. Like, no matter how many times you guys try, how many times you're like, oh, I'll fix it, because that's all it was. Like, she would bring up something and be like, all right, I'll fix it. You know, don't worry. Like, I'll fix it, and you would be great for like a week or two. Go right back to the same thing, and then finally I realized I'm like, I am not happy at all. She's not happy at all. So when she told me, like, she would always use that threatening, like, I'm done, I'm leaving, this and that. And then finally,
I hate that.
And then finally I was like, okay, let me know when you're going to come get your stuff. And she was like, she was like literally shocked. Like, I can't believe you just said that. And then once even I was shocked. I was like, dude, I actually had the balls to say it. Like I was done. Like, at that point, we were not working. And so she was shocked that I said, all right, just let me know when you're going to come get your stuff. And so, and then she even, to try to make me like feel bad or something like that, she told me later on, she came and emptied out the house, right? Like we lived together for like, it was like 3 or 4 years. And you know how when you start buying stuff with you're a couple, hey, yeah, let's buy this.
Yep.
So you really
She
don't
took it
know.
all.
You don't know what you bought, and you don't know what the other person bought, because sometimes she'd be like, "Can I get this?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." Like, how much is it? Like, here you go, and things like that. Because at that time we had some businesses together, and so so I left what I was doing with her, and then she's like, "All right, I'm gonna come get my stuff," and I'm like, "That's totally fine." When I got home, all she left was the bed, a TV, and the TV stand. Like, and obviously my clothes, but everything else. She took the kitchen table, the sofas, the mirrors, the pictures, there was literally, it looked like nobody lived in the house. And me, I was like, okay, like if.
Were you mad?
No, I was more like, if that helps you, if that helps you taking everything, then cool. I was more like, I'm just over this. Like, I'm done.
Yeah, but that's how I am. Like, so what ended up happening is we have a house together. So we were going to sell it. It fell out of escrow. And then like, this is where I live. It's like, this is kind of a big house for like one person. And it's like, we were going to get a good amount when we sold it, but it ended up falling out of escrow. And then it was around that time when like interest rates were going up. So like no one was selling houses. No one was buying houses. So then I was like, God damn, I don't want this guy in my house anymore. Like, he had moved out, but all his stuff was here. And I was like, I feel sick at home. Like, I need to clear this space. So then I called my my brokers and stuff. And I was like, I want to buy this house. Like, what do we do? And then they're like, you need to get a number amount for him because we need to pay him out. And I said, okay. So I got that. And I told him, if I pay you this, we agreed on a number, like, the house is mine. And when I say to this day, he still comes into that garage. And he's like, dude, do you still have this? Can I take this? So I tried to tell him, like, even a month ago, I was like, look, like, anything else in the house, it's mine. You have to fill out a request if you want to come take it. But I gave him, I'm like that. I'm like you. He wanted a PlayStation 5, which, by the way, I stayed up until 3 a.m. on Walmart trying to get this, in place. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, damn, he's taking the PlayStation. He took several of the TVs. There was certain, like, pots that he wanted. And every time he would come over, he's like, I want this. I want this. And I was just like, just take it. Like, take it and be gone. If that's what you really want, take it. And even now I'm like that. But I did have to tell him like a month ago, like, hey, look, like, you got a good cash payout. Like, so technically everything else in the house is mine. And then still he'll be like, some people are just attached to things because he'll still be like, well, didn't my mom get us that? And I'm like, if you want me to sit down and remember what your mom got for Christmas, like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. But some people are like that. They're very attached to things. I also think it's kind of a way for them to be a little petty, if I'm being honest. Like, he knew. He's like, well, if I ask her for, this TV, I can get in there and get the TV. And it was just like random things, like Santa cookie dishes for our kids. I was like, dude, it's $15. Do you want me to go buy you one? So I literally packed it with the kids and sent it. Yeah. And I said, here, you can have it. Some people I think they just use it as a way to like be petty, and they're just a lot more attached to things than, the typical person. But let them have it, because if that's, that's like their energy on it. So that was my biggest thing. I was like, if he really wants something, I want his energy out of this house. Like, I saged my house when I bought it. Yes. Because I didn't want anything.
It's funny that you bring that up, because like when she took everything, she told me afterwards she thought I was going to try to be like she wanted me to feel how it would feel like not being with her, right? Yep. And so she took everything, and she thought I was going to be like, no, come back, I miss you, it's so alone. But what I didn't realize then, but I realize now, it actually helped me get over her a lot quicker, because you didn't have nothing attached to that person. You know what I mean? Like, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's why I always tell people, even to this day, like, I've dated a few girls after that, and if they give me gifts, if we didn't work out, I get rid of them. I donate them. I sell them if I can. Like, because I have no reason, because later on they'll be like, oh, look, he's wearing that and I got him that, like, and I don't care what it is. Like, I remember I had an ex, she bought me a Gucci wallet, and like, as soon as we broke up, I was like, yo, who wants his wallet? Like, like,
Gucci wallet.
And some guy was like, I'll give you these pair of shoes for it. And I was like, done. I'm like, yeah, you got the best, like, better deal out of it. But I was like, I just need to get rid of it.
I'm exactly like that. The guy that I dated, like, end of last year, like, he came over, he had a toothbrush here. He gave me like a sweater. He like he had like random stuff here. And then like when we broke things off, like I threw everything away. And then he ended up coming back. And I remember when he came back to my house, he went into my room and my bathroom and he was like, where the fuck is all my stuff? And I looked at him and I was like, what stuff? And he's like, my toothbrush, my shirt, I had this here, I had that here. And I was like, you left. Like that stuff is gone. Like you left. And he looked at me, he goes, why are you trying to like make room for someone else? I said, no, I said, I just don't want your shit there. And I said, and yeah, also if I ever did have someone else in the house, that's awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, that is so awkward. So I was like, yeah, no, like this stuff's gotta go. It's gotta go.
Yeah. And that's why I always tell people now that are on the ask on TikTok is just get rid of their stuff. Like that's how you like. Of course, you're not gonna get over somebody over like one day to the next. You know, that's not how it happens. But that does help because like if you sit there and you see like, oh, this person got me this shirt, like get rid of that shirt. Like you don't need it. You can go buy another one. Like go buy a different one. So I had a question, just like, what gave you like almost the courage? Because I know a lot of people care what other people think, right? And that's one thing that I got rid of a long time ago. But unfortunately, not everyone is like that. How did you get back into like the whole dating world? Because a lot of people after they get divorced, they'll be, or even just a breakup, they'll be like, well, I don't want to get back out there because people are going to be like, oh, like look at her, she's out hoeing around, you know, like. Yeah,
I get that. Yeah, I didn't want to go back in too soon. That was actually my worry. I was like, damn, I don't want to like feel lonely and then just get back in there way too soon. And then, you know, just like not fix myself and then jump into the next thing. Which I'm not going to lie, I probably did get back in too soon. But my biggest thing was there's a lot of stuff you can work on your own in therapy, etc. But you truly never know what triggers you until you get out there and like experience it in the dating world. So like, for instance, like that guy that I was dating, like I didn't know like love bombing was a thing. I would have never learned if I didn't go out there and start dating, you know? And then once I dated him, I was like, oh, okay, like this is good because then for the next one, I'm going to catch stuff like this early. I've never cared what people think, even from a younger age. My mom always knows that about me. She says it's like one of the worst things about me. I just don't care. So like I was more like, you know, I feel ready and I don't need to, I never care what people think. Like I always tell myself, even with my divorce, I was like, if the only thing that's stopping you is what are people going to think of me, that's not good enough. So I just felt it in my heart. I downloaded Hinge, deleted it, downloaded it, deleted. And then like people are like, you need to go out. You know how like I don't go out to like clubs, like that's just not me. I'm like, you know, I'm in bed by like 9.
Yeah.
But like I go to the grocery store, I go out. I'm gonna tell you, no one comes up to me. Like it's so sad. Like I tell my mom, like, how does my sister goes to Target? People come up to her.
Yeah. And
I was like, no one comes up to me. So I was like, I have to download Hinge. I have to, you know. And I was just like, let me try it out. But I mean, I erase it like every month. When someone pisses me off, I erase it. I'm like, ew, boys, yuck.
No, even dating apps is hard because you never know what somebody's intentions like are, especially on dating apps. That's why. Yeah, I do know some people who met on dating apps. Two of the couples are still together. One of them has actually gotten married. But that's not always the case. The case is like you catch married men on there. You catch people just wanting to hook up like on there. You know what I mean?
Engaged men.
Engaged men on there. Like
engaged men. Okay. You know, are you on any dating apps?
I was, but I deleted it. Same thing.
Okay, you know what blows my mind about these dating apps and about the men on them? So like I could count them on my hand. Several men who are like on these dating apps, right? And then I'll talk to them, and then they'll be like, I'm just like, I don't know if I can do a relationship right now, or like I don't know, and like it's like okay, so or they'll say, oh, I'm always so busy. Like you know, that's my fault. Like certain line of work, they're always so busy, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing on a dating app then? And one time I asked one of them, I literally was like, what the fuck are you doing on a dating app? And he pretty much said, he's like, I'm just bored. Like I work. He's a firefighter. He's like, I have a lot of time and at work to like do nothing. I'm like, okay. And I literally told him, I was like, well, I'm not here to be someone's pen pal. So like, this isn't elementary school. I'm not a pen pal. So I was like, I literally wrote to him. I was like, you know what, if you're ever ready, you can come find me if I'm available. Like, that's just it, you know? It's just so weird to me because like they say they have no time, but it's like, you have enough time to be on a dating app? That's kind of odd, you know?
I think it's because like I know some guys that are on dating apps, right? And so yes, they do have a lot of time, and especially like a lot of these guys who do go out and cheat, they have too much time in their hands. But they are looking for somebody who's just basically gonna want to hook up, and then that's it. You know what I mean? Like for some reason, us guys, we think that just because we swipe right on a girl, and if we match, that all of a sudden they're gonna be like, "Hey, yo, come over here, let's hook up." You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, but can I be 100% honest with you?
yeah.
I've tried that angle as well.
Damn.
I've tried that in a sense of I don't have time for like dates and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm a woman. Like I have needs, and I was like, fine, whatever. Let me try that angle.
No, it didn't work out.
It didn't work out.
Yeah, the dating. Well, I mean, I know the dating world is so weird right now. It's so people are on social media.
What do you think of Snapchat? Be honest.
So Snapchat, I think that's the area to go and cheat on. To be honest,
really,
just because it does, unless you go in and save the messages, they delete after 24 hours. Before it's like after you view it, it deletes. I know so many people who've gotten cheated on through Snapchat.
Snapchat?
I don't like drama, so I'm not gonna go out and be like, "Hey, yo, your man's like over here, like messaging this girl because I know this girl," and she's like, "Isn't he married?" And I'm just like, I'm not trying to be in this whole like love triangle.
Don't get involved.
I'm like, if you can't see your man's cheating on you, I was like, that's your fault. Like, I'm not gonna go and be like, "Hey, yo," because I did that one time, trying to be nice, and all of a sudden she was like, he's the one that said it, and I'm like, oh fuck, like you got to be kidding me. Like now I'm in
you can lose friends that way.
Yeah, like now I'm in the middle of this like triangle that I didn't want to be in, and I was like, this is why you keep your mouth shut, Edgar. Snapchat, I feel like that's a place where a lot of people, not always, it's not like, not all guys, not all girls get on Snapchat just to cheat. It's another social media platform. People stay connected that way. I have friends on there who are girls too, that's just where you message. Like, it's nothing bad.
Yeah.
But there's also those guys that ruin it for everybody else because that's where they go to cheat. That's where they go. Because if the messages delete, there's no evidence showing to their girl, hey, like, I'm over here talking to this girl. And they can just be like, oh, like the whole streak thing. That's another.
Oh, yeah. What is that?
So you can get streaks on Snapchat, right? Like,
okay.
The more you send people stuff, you start building streaks. And some guys will actually use that as an excuse, being like, oh, I only sent her a snap because we have a streak going and I'm trying to keep the streak going. Like, for what? Like, what's the point of it? Like, yeah, you get points on Snapchat, but where are you going to cash in these points? Like, you can't cash them in anywhere. Like, you can't do anything with those points. And so, and it's funny because I get those questions all the time too, like on TikTok. And it's funny because like the answer is right in front of their face, but I feel like they're a little bit more comfortable at coming from even like a guy being like, yeah, this dude's cheating on you. Like, I hate to say it to you, like straight up blunt like that, but he's not interested.
Someone needs to tell them.
Yeah, and like that's why I think the TikTok has been doing well, and that's why I also want to bring on like girls just to get girls' perspectives too, just because like obviously like I don't know everything. I haven't been through everything.
I have perspective.
Yeah, I have been through like some stuff. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, people are like, how did you get like so, like, how are you so perfect? Trust me, I'm not perfect. Like, I did my shady stuff.
Okay. So like what do you think, because this is a question I ask a lot of people, and like your last relationship, what do you think like you could have done better? In my last relationship, I actually maybe a different one, but this one I tried hard like to make it work. You're like, I was good.
I made sure, like, if a girl messaged me, I'd be like, look what this girl said. Like, I didn't respond. Like, this is what she said. You know what I mean? I wanted her to feel like the most, that she could trust me. Like, she could this and that. And then she was super jealous. But she would be like, so why she messaged you in the first place? I was like, I don't know. Like,
oh, God. That's a lose-lose.
Yeah, and she would be like...
Yeah, you can.
She would go through my IG likes and be like, why is this girl liking it? I was like, I don't know. That's what IG is. It's to like photos. Like...
Those kind of relationships are exhausting. They're extremely exhausting. There's no longevity to those. That person is insecure. That's it.
Yeah, and it's funny because she had no reason to be insecure. Like, she was a model for a supplement company. Like, she had her own business. Like, she was gorgeous. Why are you so insecure with yourself? Like,
it's usually those. You know that, right? It's usually those that are the most insecure.
Yeah,
that's what I'm learning.
And I'm just like, why are you so insecure? I was like, yeah, I'm like 100% in this. Like, I would travel
Speaking
to
of Snapchat, I
got some random dude messaging you, hey, what's up,
I
girl?
got
Like,
a snap. Well, now I gotta ask these questions.
so I have a question for you. So I had a question, since I always get questions like, what are some what are some things that guys don't like when you go on a date? And like some of the biggest things for me is like, I don't like to go. So when I go on a date, right, I'm reserving this time to go with you. Like say I'm taking you on a date, right? If I say, hey, we're gonna go to dinner at 7 p.m., I'm gonna pick you up, and so on and so forth. I'm reserving this time from like 7 p.m. to whenever the date ends to be with you, to get to know you, to hang out with you. My biggest thing is like, I hate it when people are on the phone. Like, why are you on the phone? Like, you could have told this person. Sometimes I do get on the phone, but that's because, when you have your own business, there's certain messages, certain people that call you that you have to answer because you have to like answer whatever the question is. But I let them know that. But I remember I went on a date with this girl and she was just like on social media the whole time. I'm like, girl, like, why are you here? Like, why are you here?
Have you ever seen those like couples that are out at dinner together and they're both on their phones? And I'm like, what is the point? I literally see them. I'm like, what is the point of this? It's like they don't even like each other. They can't even talk to each other. Like, it's so awkward.
They're there for the Instagram photo, the Instagram story.
That's probably it. Just to say they went out on date night.
So what are some of the things? Oh, like, speaking of, like, I know a lot of people who go on date night to make themselves seem like they're all lovey-dovey, but in reality, I know how the relationship is. It's not nowhere near like perfect as
I know so many couples like that, and it's so sad.
It is. It really is. And I'm trying not to be one of those. But my question to you is, since you've been back on the dating scene, right? What are some of the things that you do not like that guys do on a date?
Because I'm so weird. So what?
I literally had this question when I was on the TikTok live. They're like, hey, like, do you only cater to women? I was like, no. I was like, this is perfect. That why we're gonna have Janet on the podcast and hopefully on the TikToks later on. That way, they can get like a girl's perspective, like on what guys do.
So, for me, it's like I'm weird. I watch how people eat, like their mannerisms. I know I actually broke up with a boyfriend like years ago because of that, because I couldn't stand the way. Well, you're gonna have a lot of meals with them, so you need to enjoy it. But like little things that like I look at is like how they treat the wait staff. I look at that a lot because I worked at Subway, I worked at Target, like I worked in a lot of different jobs. So I'm very like, I'm just respectful of people. I like to think that I'm very respectful of people.
Yeah.
And I feel like they get shitted on so much. So I've been out with guys that are just like rude and short, and I don't like that. It just like rubs me the wrong way. Contrary to probably what most women think, I don't like guys who like order for women. Like I don't like that. Like I like the simple things, like letting me order first, letting me sit down first, different things like that. Oh my God, I'm trying to think about the last date I went on, the guy took forever to like ask for the check. Like forever.
And
like the meal was done.
You're just ready to go.
I was like, right. I literally was like, can I go home? Like, I was like, this is taking forever. And then it was so sketchy because he was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And he took his phone with him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is fucking awkward. Yeah. I was like, I literally was like, something's like really up here. I don't know if he was like stressed out about something sketchy was like definitely going on with that scenario. But let me think what else. Hey. I think if guys it's so simple for us. Like, as long as you're decent, you're nice, you're attentive, you ask questions, light like touches, I think women are set. Like, I think you guys make us out to be a lot more complicated than we actually are.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what I've noticed because I've gone on a few dates. It's not too complicated. You could read people's body language. You could read, like, if they're into the conversation, if they're into you, like, if they're not into you. And then going back to that person who you said was stressed out, he probably wanted you to pay for half, to be honest, because if he was, like, checking his phone.
This guy legit would never let me pay for, like, anything.
No?
Anything.
Yeah,
like, we would go to a grocery store, he would, like, get livid. He was like, no, like, I'm paying. I honestly think he was just texting someone else, if I'm being completely honest.
That's true. He was probably married. That's what happens sometimes.
No, he definitely wasn't married.
How do you know?
Because I dated him for a little bit of time. And then that night I broke up with, like, I called things off with him.
So you've never seen somebody who's been in a married and in a whole other relationship. I have several people.
Well, yeah, I don't know how they do that.
Oh yeah, it's stressful.
Okay, can I tell you a story of how someone got caught?
Yeah.
So
people are here for the tea.
Yeah, let me tell you a story. And I'm going to be honest, this is not my experience. I've heard through the grapevine, and I was like, oh man, women are clever. No, women are clever. I'm upset. I didn't think of this one. This is amazing. Okay, so this husband was cheating on his wife, right? And she kind of had like an inkling that he was cheating, but he's a cop. Mm-hmm. So she's like, oh, he's always working. You know what I mean? And then she found out he was cheating because she left her Apple Watch in his car and left the location on.
Oh, damn.
And then she like had it on her phone and she saw where he was going. And I was like, brains, dude. Brains. That's all brains.
Yeah, see, and people do, even guys do that. I remember I was talking to this one. This is why I don't date girls from here, because exes, I don't like to deal with exes. A lot of them can't
girls from where you live?
Yeah. So that's why, you'll never hear me, his girlfriend lives in town. No, it's always out of town. Because the biggest thing is exes. Some exes cannot get over their ex, and so and especially, have you ever ran into, I don't know if it's a girl thing, but it's a guy thing, be like, oh man, I thought we were boys. I was like, bro, I don't even know you, man. I said hi to you one time, and all of a sudden we're boys, and now I can't. It happened to me. This dude literally wanted to fight me because he said we thought we were boys, and he found out that I was on a date with his ex-girlfriend. And so he said, man, I thought we were boys. This is. I was like, bro, I barely even know you, man. I don't even know your last name, to be honest. And things like that. And so, but then again, I tried it again because I'm like, maybe I should stop being like that, right? So I started talking to this other girl. And she showed up and she's like, what does this mean? She grabbed her phone and showed it to me, and it says there's an AirTag nearby. And I was like, do you have an AirTag? And she's like, no. She's like, what is that? And I was like, there's an AirTag nearby. And so I was like, do you think your ex would do something like that? And she's like, probably. And she's like, crazy. So we searched through her car. We found it in the trunk of her car. You know where the taillights are at?
Yeah.
It was put in there. And the only way to, she's like, well, how do we turn it off? I was like, we have to break it. That's how you turn them off. But you know what I mean?
I have never done that to anybody. I'm going to be honest. I don't have the energy.
I would never, that seems like a lot of work. If
you think someone's cheating on you, I always tell people, you will find out.
Yeah.
You will find out.
Not even cheating. This was an ex situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why? Just get over the person. It didn't work out. Why are you so stuck on this person? You're out here dating other girls, but the moment she starts talking to somebody else, now it's a problem,
So what's your radius for dating someone? How far?
So my last official ex, she's from Dallas. She's from Dallas, Texas.
How do you do that?
Easy. You just fly there. You know what I mean?
I have kids, so it's harder.
So
I don't date people in town.
Yeah.
Where I live, I don't date people.
So she did have kids too. She came here a few times. I went there mainly, but that's because so the way I work, the cool thing about my business is I can find clients wherever, right? So I started finding clients out there. So the flights basically paid themselves, the whole trip was paid for because I would have clients there, do some work, hang out with her, fly back. She would come out here. We would hang out here.
Okay. But what is I always look at the bigger picture. What's the end to something like that? So how long can you continue that for?
So eventually, I know for a fact if I'm dating somebody long distance, the whole conversation of she's like, I don't like you being so far, and so I know that conversation is coming. So that's why we had that conversation. I actually sold a lot of stuff because I was actually planning on leaving. Not a lot of people know that. That's gonna be a spoiler alert. I was actually on. But she was the one that was
good. I'm getting stuff out of you.
Yeah, she was the one that was actually super jealous, and so I was like, man, for some reason,
you're a little toxic, huh?
No, for some reason in my head, I'm like, this is not going to change when I get there. I know that, this is not going to change. This is super stressful.
Yeah.
Not only am I stressed out with my business, I'm stressed out with her because I feel like every little move I make is like she's like watching me like a hawk. You know, like and it's not like I was doing anything bad, but I was afraid to post a picture and have a girl like it, because then here comes like, why is this girl like it?
Here we go.
You know what I mean? Like I can't even post anything, and every girl that I took pictures of, I was sleeping with, and I'm like, you know, some of these girls are underage, right? You know, they're like seniors and stuff like that. Like, why would I be?
Yeah. Logic leaves women's minds sometimes.
And I would tell her, I would be like, look at you. You're beautiful. You're like gorgeous. You have your shit together. Well, kind of. But
you're a little crazy.
You're a little crazy. A little crazy is cool, but you're like past that now, you know?
Do guys, like, do men like crazy women? Like, you know the book Why Men Love Bitches? I'm not gonna lie, I might buy it. I think I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I'm too nice. No, I know that sounds so lame, but
I actually agree with you, because I feel like when I was too nice, I was looked at different. You know what I mean? Like, I was looked at like maybe he's like a pushover, or maybe he's there's a reason he's too nice. And the reason I was too nice is because I didn't want to be like how I used to be. And I'm not saying like I'm rude or anything like that. I would just like, I get to the point where like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's like some girls would be like, well, all right, well, I'm leaving. All right, leave. Like I don't care.
Yeah, no, I get it. I feel like men, you guys like it when women are little bitches.
I like it when a girl's a little crazy. There's a little crazy is good, but too much crazy, you're just like, because I don't know if you saw that TikTok where she somebody asked like, what was the craziest thing that a girl made me do when I was hooking up with them, and she liked it when I cut her inner thigh like with a knife.
I saw that one. Okay, that's like some satanic shit right there.
I know, but like at the time, like you have to think like, I mean, you said it too earlier. Like sometimes when you're like talking with somebody, like kind of like logic leaves. Like you're just like, well, she likes it. If she likes it, I'll do it.
I don't judge you. That's, you know, each to their own. That is one of the more intense things. But people do like pain.
Yeah, and
so in different ways.
And so like when the first time I did it, I was freaking out. Right, I was freaking out because I'm like, the first thing I'm thinking of was like, I'm gonna be on the news. My parents are gonna see that I cut some girl. They're gonna think that I tried attempting to kill her.
Poor mom and dad.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is gonna go. This is a setup. Like instantly, like I'm like, this is a setup. This girl's gonna get me. Because before that, long story short, I got blackmailed for a sex tape, and so so I'm thinking.
Hey, I tell people all the time, we all have one.
Yeah,
we all have one out there. Oh God, I'm not surprised.
And so I'm thinking right away, instantly, I'm like, this girl's gonna like report me. She's gonna call the cops. She's gonna. So that's why I was freaking out in the beginning. Like it wasn't like so much that I didn't want to do it. Like if I'm usually like, if you like something, I'll do it, right?
Yeah.
But like that, I was like, man, she's gonna like, she wants something. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm thinking like she wants to be arrested or something. But then I finally did it, and like how bad she got turned on afterwards, I was like, I'm cutting her every time. Like,
every time this is happening.
Every time. But then she ended up being psycho. She ended up being pretty crazy. Like there was.
Okay, but like, did you see like other cuts on her? Because then that means you could kind of see how many guys.
She didn't have like other cuts on her. She did have like random like scarrings like on her arms and stuff.
Those are, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like nothing's like, I was like, it looks like a cut, but you know what? Like, do your thing, girl. Like.
But she ended up being a psycho.
Yeah. She ended up being like super crazy. Like.
Are you surprised?
She was like, hey, we need to do a blood oath. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah, like that way we were together forever. I was like, this girl's crazy.
You know, by the way, this is just for all the guys listening. If you have sex with a woman when she's on her period, it's a soul tie. It's a form of witchcraft.
She did it on purpose. That out there. She did it on purpose.
So, was she on her period?
When I did that?
If you have sex with a woman while she's on her period, it's considered a soul tie. Like there's witchcraft behind that.
Do you believe?
You didn't know? You're thinking now, huh?
Yeah, I'm just like.
Absolutely. I'm a low key witch, so I look into that stuff.
Oh damn! I didn't know that. Like, so fellas, next
now
time
you're thinking of all the
fellas. Next time you're like, she's like, oh, I'm on my period. You think about it.
So yeah, really think about it because it's a soul tie. Look into it. It's a real thing.
Damn. And I lean more towards that, like the whole like spiritual universe, that type
me
of
too.
stuff. Just because some people, my parents are super religious. I don't tell them what I think. You know what I mean? Because there's like, oh, it's the Catholic way. Yeah, okay.
Do you have siblings?
I do. So I have an older brother. It's me. I have a younger brother. My sister. If you ever watch me post my nephew all the time,
Yes, I see your nephew.
yeah, it's her kid, and then my youngest brother, the one that helps me all the time. But he doesn't look like he's 21. He's like 6'2". Looks like he's like 28.
That's how my brother is. He's 26, but he's like looks like a grown ass man.
Yeah.
So you only have one sister.
Yes, one sister, and it's funny because well, I think that's who I get along the best with is my sister and my mom, because in a Hispanic community or culture, the guy is usually like, especially with my dad, he's like more like you don't show emotion, you don't like super serious, super serious all the time, and you're like, bro, chill out, like, and it's funny. The funny shit just happened. Sorry to cut you off, but they just found my TikTok, so. Here we are.
Wait, you've never talked to them about? My mom follows me on Instagram, and every time she whoops my ass. Like my mom, okay, in high school, and he follows me now. So if he ever watches, in high school, I dated a black guy. And I didn't tell anyone in my family, but he was honestly like my best friend. He was my high school sweetheart. And we won prom king and queen together. And my entire family, like it was in our school newspaper, and my cousins were in the school, and they told their parents, and they pretty much ended up like, it was like a war. Like they came to my mom's house. They were like, what the fuck is going on with your daughter? Like they called me Kim Kardashian. I was like, oh my God, thank you. No. But I was like, to me, it just wasn't a big deal because my mom didn't raise me to care.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like we were friends with everybody, and they were so like, you have to marry an Armenian. And my point is like now when I talk about things so freely, like I bring up the stuff, like, in my question boxes, I'll bring up like, my high school boyfriend, and my mom follows me. So she'll call me and she'll be like, so when the entire family was fighting with us and we said, no, Janet's not with this guy. She goes, you were actually with him? And I said, Mom, you knew I was with him. You took him to the movies with us. Like, you knew he was my boyfriend.
Yeah.
But like my family, like they all follow me on Instagram now. And I think they all just talk mad shit. Do you have any experience with Armenian people?
I do know some people who are Armenian.
Armenian women are chismosas. That's it. They just want to talk
I don't know that part.
Shit. Women in general just want to talk shit. Armenian women are a different caliber.
It sounds like Latinas. That's what it sounds like.
Like, yes. And let me, like, I have a cousin where she's like a couple years younger than me. Her aunt, which is my mom's like first cousin, doesn't have an Instagram. She uses my cousin's Instagram to look at my Instagram. Jeez. I'm like, bro, are you guys also like, my page is public. You could go on your laptop and look at it, but that's how like bored they are. And I honestly think like their lives are all boring and mine's like a shit show and they're happy.
No, and it's funny because people always want to keep tabs with you because I don't know if you've noticed it with your Instagram, but I noticed it with mine. Like I literally get 2,000 to 3,000 people that view my Instagram stories. Like if not more, I only have like 7,600 followers. You have way more. But like I get like less than 10% the likes. I was like, okay, you could watch my stuff and keep tabs on me.
Watch the stories, you'll get no likes. Yep.
I was like, but you can't even, at least like the picture. Like if you're gonna keep tabs on me, like at least like the picture.
Oh, you should see like my story views. Sometimes I go and I look and I'm like, you're not even following me. That means every day you have to sit there and search my name and watch my stories. And I'm like, don't they know that their name comes up? Like I know who views my stories.
Yeah, see,
and it's so weird to me.
Yeah, I remember looking through them, but now it gets to the point where you just don't want to even look. You know what I mean? Like, there's like so many people in there, you're just like, whatever. But my thing was like, how are you like watching my stuff, keeping tabs on my stuff, but you never like my stuff? Like you can watch my stuff, but you can't like it.
So wait, what did your parents say about your TikTok?
They just found me. I'm just hoping because they told my sister about it. They told my sister, and I'm like, oh shit, here we are, And I sent her that one GIF, the one with the black kid, where he's like looking all over. He has the drink in his hand. Like, that's the one I sent her. You. Yeah, and I'm like, oh shit, like, I was just like, hopefully they don't understand. Hopefully, like depending which video they saw, Like, hopefully they don't understand. But my sister was like, oh, he has a lot of followers though on there. And they're like,
You
really?
guys like spin it.
Yeah.
Like,
And so hopefully they don't like ask what I talk. I'll just be like, oh, you just relationship advice and stuff.
relationship advice.
And
Just say it's relationship advice. That's it. Because will they understand it if they like? They'll actually sit there and watch it.
so I don't know if they do. So it's funny how they've been finding a lot of my stuff, right? Like I remember I went skydiving
shit.
a few years ago. And then my dad out of nowhere, he was like, damn, you jumped out of a plane. And like he showed me the video I posted. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, how'd you find me on Instagram? Like, you know, like, because I never posted
They're
it.
gonna find you.
Oh, yeah. And now I got to the point like, like, this is how I am. Like, if people like it, if not, because that's my biggest thing right now, especially with my clients. Like, if any of them would tell me, don't talk the way you talk, like just start dressing like suit and tie and stuff, I'd be like, yo, this is not gonna work out, man. I was like, because one, I'm gonna talk however I want to talk. Like, you're not gonna filter me. And two, like, if you don't want to work with, like, because of that, you don't want to work with me. I was like, we're not meant to work together.
Oh my God, I'm like really good at that, saying no to people. Like my patience.
Oh
my gosh. I deal with women. So women are, we're very difficult.
So I
I
have a question for you. Just because, I mean, when I go on dates, I can kind of like tell just how the girls reacting, like, especially like when I try to be funny. Of course I am funny, but like when I say certain things, like you can tell like the way they touch you, the way they grab you, like if they're vibing with you, like you can tell if the vibe is there. What are like some things that guys can do that girls appreciate, or like what are some signs that a guy can be like, oh, okay, maybe she is into me? Because some guys are super scared and so like blind to like what the girl is doing.
That's a really good question. So, like what I do personally, if I'm like into a guy,
yeah,
I ask a lot of questions. I'll ask him a lot about like if he likes his job, his work, like because I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah.
Like, and then I'm like, okay, if I'm attracted to this guy, then I kind of want to know if he's like in the right mindset, if he likes his career, if he gets along with his family. Like I'll start asking questions like that to kind of build his character.
Yeah.
I'm a toucher. So I will always
a lot of girls are.
Yes. Are they really?
Yeah, a lot of girls that I've noticed that are into me, the touching thing comes in to play real quick. That's when I know, like, if I say something and they'll like grab the arm and I'm like, she likes me.
Okay, you know what's another big one, which a lot of guys don't know this? If she uses your name a lot.
Ooh, I never noticed that one.
Oh, that's bad. I'm joking. If I like a guy, I'll say his name a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I will like, you know, let's say it's, I don't know, Joe. I was like, oh my God, Joe, that's so funny. I want him to know that like I'm like zoned
with the touch,
in.
yeah.
With the touch, with the, like a nice little like, you know, hand on the arm.
And then also I told them like it's not always that they show up, because I've seen it too. Like some people will go on a date, right? And they'll sit there and not have conversations with the person. And so like it's awkward. The other person gets like, it's so awkward they want to get on their phone, right? It's
what do you mean they won't have conversations with them?
It's like almost a shield. Some guys are scared. You know what I mean? Like some guys super nervous. They don't know what to do. Because I remember like early on, a long time ago, like when I would go on dates, like I was like super nervous. I was like, fuck, like I don't know what am I going to talk about? But once you get older, you start maturing. Obviously your mindset is somewhere else. Me, like now I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot of audiobooks, watch a lot of documentaries. So I can hold a conversation in a lot of different areas. You know, I may not be an expert in everything, but if you bring up something, I'd be like, oh yeah, like so-and-so, did you watch this? And I was like, that's how you can have a conversation with people. I was like, but if you're just into partying and like things like that, of course, you know, what are you going to talk about? Like,
you know, that's a really good point. Like one thing I don't like is I don't like when I'm leading the conversation.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's so annoying. Like I know I can talk, but it's like, try a little bit, you know, like it's let's be honest, first dates, second dates, they're awkward across the board. It doesn't matter who it is. So it's like, you should go in there with an idea of like questions you want to ask this person. You just have to, it's almost like a rehearsal. Yeah.
See, and like the way I go into dates is not a rehearsal. I go into it differently because like, I just want to see like where your mindset is. I usually ask I'll touch on certain topics, like I'll touch like on space or something like I just watched, right? And be like, see if you can add to the conversation. Because if you can't, I'm like, this dude, like, she's boring. You know what I mean? Like,
wait, did you say you asked about space?
Yeah, hell yeah. I
Like
watch
outer space?
I watch space documentaries like crazy. Okay.
I wouldn't know even what to contribute to that conversation. I'd say I'm a Leo with a Gemini rising.
It's funny because like if you can't add to the conversation, it's fine. What I don't like is when you try to fake it. Like you try to fake like a so and so, like the stars, the moon, the sun, like you know what I mean? Like so things like that. But if I respect it more when you're like, well, I really don't know too much about space, and I'll be like, cool, that's fine. Like I don't know too much about like this, which is fine. That and like I usually ask their goals, like what they're like a 5-year goal for, like what's something they want to accomplish this year.
Do you ask that on their on the first date?
Hell yeah.
Really?
I need to know where your head is at. Like, because if I'm going to be spending my time with you, investing my time with you, I better know that I'm investing it wisely, because I don't want to go on these mindless dates here and there and like asking what's your favorite color like 20 different times, you know, like I honestly don't care about the color, to be honest.
I feel like I'm more like, I ask people a lot about their family, because that tells me a lot of like the things that they probably need to work on. Like it's very clear for me when I ask them questions about their family. Like, are you close to your mom? Do you have brothers or sisters? Like I ask them that stuff because then I'm like, okay, I can gauge what type of person this is. And then I always ask if they like their job. Always. Yeah. Because if someone doesn't like their job or their career, that person's going to drain you. Like I've been with someone and I'm like, God damn, dude. Like
that's why I ask about the goals, because like if you don't like your job, I want to hope that you're working towards something that's going to take you away from that job, you know, like pursue a career, because just like you said, that stuff drains you. Like if they're always negative, you're like, dude, this person is always negative. Like I don't even like being around them. And
you know what I hate when people ask me, what are your hobbies? I hate that shit. And let me tell you why I hate it. I have no hobbies.
Yeah, see, like, I hate the typical first date questions. You know what I mean? Like, one time I asked the girl if she believed in like, if we lived in a multi-dimensional universe. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, do you? And she's like, well, I have my thoughts on it.
Absolutely, the quantum realm.
She was like, that's a weird question to ask on the first date. I was like, all right, well, what's your favorite color? Do you want me to ask that? And she's like, she just started laughing. She's like, no, I'd rather answer the other question. It's rose gold, by the way. You know?
That's not a real color, but okay.
But you know what I mean?
Have you ever told a girl, like after a date, like, oh, because I know you're not big on ghosting people, right?
Not anymore.
Mm-mm.
Not anymore.
Don't do that. That's bad karma. I tell people all the time. That is
I used to do it all the time.
You know, okay, so this one guy, I remember I hung out with him the first time, and I remember he got a phone call. Like we were driving in his car, and he got a phone call from like a number, and I didn't think anything of it. It was literally my first couple hours into hanging out with him, and he's like, I'm sorry they keep calling me. He goes, that's actually another girl that I'm talking to. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, again, it's none of my business. We're like 4 hours into hanging out.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, that's cool. And he's like, I'm going to tell her, he goes, I really like you, and I'm just not going to answer it. And I looked at him, he goes, I'm not going to talk to her anymore. And I looked at him and I said, I don't really believe in like ghosting. Like that actually tells me a lot about the type of person that you are. Like, do me a favor, don't do it because of me, but if you generally aren't interested in her, if you really aren't interested in her, text her and just say, this isn't working out.
Yeah.
And then later that night, he texted me a screenshot of like him telling her pretty much. But let me tell you, I told him, I was like, hey, look, if we ever don't work out, please don't ghost me. What did he do?
He ghosted you.
He fucking ghosted my ass.
And it's funny because I tell people all the time on my TikTok, the reason we ghost is because we avoid those awkward conversations. Because I'm pretty sure that was an awkward conversation. You know what I mean?
But those are big boy conversations. No, exactly. You got to put on your big boy pants.
Exactly.
And do it.
But what's easier for a guy that's immature? To ghost somebody and block them? Or to have a conversation and be like, yo, you know what? Like, I'm actually not really feeling you. Because I actually...
Easy as that?
Yeah, I had a girl tell me that. And I was like, girl, good. Because I was about to tell you the same thing. Like, I wasn't really feeling this, you know?
Were you really?
No, oh, yeah. I was most definitely... Like, we were going to hang out again. And she was like, you know what? I was like, honestly, we were going to go hang out. And I was going to tell you the same exact thing. I just didn't want to tell you over the phone. But since you want to do it over the phone, that works with me, you know?
Yeah, see, like I would appreciate that if someone was just like, hey, this isn't working out for this and this reason. Best of luck. I'd like that. But ghosting, I think, is so. It really can like make a person feel pretty worthless.
Yeah, see, and I learned that just because, like I said, this is why I'm able to speak on some of these things, because I used to do it all the time. I would hook up with a girl and be like, I really don't like her. I'm just gonna go. Like, it's so much easier for me to be like, yo, I got what I wanted. Thank you. But this is not going to work out. I'm out. Or I can just be like, I'll just don't message this person anymore. That's so much easier.
Yeah, but then it's like that girl's still going to reach out to you, and then you're going to label her as a crazy person that you hooked up with. That's not fair. Because what if she's not crazy?
And I learned that. That's why I'm showing some of these girls like why some of these guys do that. Because it's easier. It's easier for us just to be like, all right, I'm out. Instead of being like, hey, let's have a mature adult conversation here and be like, I'm going to tell you why I'm not into you. But you see it too, like when you try to have a conversation with some guys. I don't know if you've ever noticed it. Like some guys are real shut off. I used to be that way too. Like you would ask me like, hey, like, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. In reality, it's not fine. There's a lot of things, but you just don't want to have that conversation. You just don't. I remember doing it with my ex too, like all the time. She's like, well, what's wrong? I was like, nothing, like nothing's wrong. Everything's good. Like, I'm fine. But in reality, there was a lot of things going on. Like I was not fine.
Yeah, I think the takeaway, like what I learned from that was that like with that whole situation, I was like, you know what, Janet, you don't even want to be with someone who doesn't have emotional maturity like that. Because you're right, that's someone who is not mature.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you really even want to be with someone like that? Because like, I'm going to tell you from someone who's like been married, like if that's the path that you choose, like marriage, kids, all that, life only gets harder. So if that person doesn't know or doesn't want to learn how to communicate with you, when all that other bullshit comes your way and they're not emotionally mature or like emotionally intelligent, you want nothing to do with them. Like it only gets harder. That's my point. Yeah. Like life only gets harder as you progress in relationships. It doesn't get easier. Yes. Life only is going to throw a bunch of shit your way.
Yeah, and I wish I would have had those like now looking back, obviously you can't change anything, but you're just like, man, I wish I would have at least had some conversations. We could have ended at 5 years and been good, like instead of wasting another 3 years of it. It wasn't happiness, it was just a bunch of like up and downs. Like, of course you have your good moments, but then it's more bad moments than good moments. Those good moments only last for like a few days.
Oh my God. That is such a good point. So that's one thing I tell, like when women ask me like, how did you know like it was time to leave? And that's exactly what I said. I said, when you pick up a picture or when you think of a memory and the bad starts overweighing the good. Like, I remember I looked at, like, my kid's Christmas picture, and all I thought of was not, like, how fun it was with them taking Christmas pictures. It was, like, the massive fight in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when that starts happening more and more, you're kind of like, well, what's the point now when the bad starts outweighing the good consistently and more, and so much so that you can't even look at a picture without remembering, like, this huge fight that happened right before. And there were so many pictures that I would look at like that, like looking at like Halloween pictures. And I was like, oh my God, like I remember this happened. Or like looking at Christmas Eve pictures or like New Year's. I remember he got drunk and this happened and this huge blow up happened. And I was like, yeah, no. To answer your question about something just came to mind. One thing I look at when I'm on dates, because I have a history of this, and it runs in like I saw it in my family with like my dad, and because of like previous relationships, I look at how much a guy drinks. Like I pay attention I never say anything about it, but not even like the first date. I pay attention to it across the board.
Yeah.
Because it's a trigger for me.
Oh yeah.
And I don't want to be with someone who's like, you know what I mean? Or like how, more importantly, also like not only how much they drink, how they act when they're drunk.
Yeah, it's funny because sometimes like when I did go to dances and stuff like that, like the Mexican dances, they'd be like, damn, how much you had to drink? I haven't had anything today. Like, you know what I mean? Because like,
yeah,
I get happier when I drink, and I don't drink all the time either. And that's a big thing. Like, I'm naturally just a happy person. And if I drink, I'm happier. Because
me too.
Alcohol usually makes you more of what you already are. Like, if you're a happy person, you're going to be happier. If you're like deep down, if you're like a depressed type of person, it's just going to make you more depressed. Like, that's all it's going to do. So that's why, like, I always tell people, like, me, I drink every now and then. We're going to do a podcast. So I was like, you know what? That way we can like both loosen
Me
up.
too. I had wine.
I'm gonna go get.
You have to like know your limits. So like sometimes like I can tell like if a guy like I'm talking to him, I can tell if he's had a lot to drink, and literally I'll say, "Have you been drinking?"
Yeah.
Because I can tell it's like a total shift in tone, a total shift in everything. And for me, that's a trigger for me personally. Like, I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm in therapy, so like there's different things that like I'm picking up on, but like drinking is definitely a trigger for me.
Yeah, because I get what you're saying, because I know some people who do drink a lot, and I'm like, bro, like, why are you drinking so much? You just turn into a worse person, like, when you drink.
Yeah.
So I have another question, because I know we've been going for a while. Hopefully we can do this a lot more, because I like talking with you.
How long have we been going
We've
for?
been going for an hour and 13 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Which, this is fun, and it's cool, because next time I'll bring some more questions from, like, either the Anonymous Live or just the videos that do really well on TikTok. So...
Okay.
I know a big question for guys, because us guys, we don't know. Like, the things we do sometimes are just not it. You know what I mean? Like, we think it's like, we think it's it, but it's not it. Not close to being it. So, because now we live in the age of like dating apps, social media. How does one approach a girl on social media or dating apps? Because now you're more likely to meet somebody on a dating app or social media than you are in real life.
Oh my God. Okay. So I actually have a folder in my iPhone of screenshots of my Hinge of like all the pickup lines. Some of these are fucking ridiculous. Like, I'll tell you what doesn't work. What doesn't work is like coming on like way too strong, like way too heavy. One guy was like, "I would love to meet your parents." Like,
oh shit.
It was just like this. Like, I was like, "Oh my fucking God!" I actually gear more towards like the funny guys, like someone who like one guy who. What did he say? How did he say? He's like, "Oh, I'm just curious." It was actually on my Instagram. It was on my Instagram, not even on Hinge. It was on my Instagram. He's like, "Oh, I'm just curious." It was about one of my stories. He goes, "I'm curious. How do I get on like a wait list to go on a date with you?" And I thought it was the cutest shit ever. I was like, "Oh, poor idiot. He thinks there's a wait list. That's adorable." But I was like, "You can submit an application here." But because that's my humor.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't like the coming on strong. Like a compliment is always cute, but like I love funny because funny catches my attention.
Yeah.
Like, you know how they always say like the funny guys like get the girl too. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's the funny guys. Like I don't like the coming on too strong. Like, and I also don't like the ones that are like, "Hey, I would love to like take you out." Like, I think that's too formal. That's not really me.
Yeah.
That's not really my style. The funny little like sneaky little things like that, I love it.
It's funny because that actually does work, because I'll tell you right now. So obviously, like I said, my ex, she was gorgeous, beautiful, way out of my league, right? And how I got her, right? It wasn't like, hey, beautiful, like, what's up? I asked her almost the same thing. Like, I'm like, "Hey, girl, I'm trying to get to know you." I was like, "What do I have to do in order to get to know you?" And she was like, "I need a 10 slide presentation on why I should date you." And guess what I did? I made a 10 slide presentation on why she should date me. I made a video and I sent it to her, and she thought it was the coolest thing ever. And guess what? Next thing you knew, I was in Dallas, Texas.
See, there you go. Oh my God, this one guy on Hinge, his whole profile is a PowerPoint about him. I screenshotted it and I was like, "This is so clever. So clever." But to add to that note, funny guys, my sister's ex-husband, I'm going to be honest, my sister is a bombshell. Like a bombshell. She's so beautiful. Her ex-husband, I tell her, I'm like, it's got to be his personality, right? Like it has to, because he's not good looking at all. Like, especially in comparison to my sister, she's a Barbie. Yeah. She looks like a Barbie doll. And I remember like growing up, because we've known him for like so long, I was like, "Oh, Ivan must be funny." I was like, and he was like really funny, but then it got to a point where he lost his funny. Yeah. And then now he's her ex-husband. So you know what I mean? Like the funny guys, like you got to stay funny, man, because that's really
not just you. That has to be you. It can't be like
fake.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys will put on a fake front. That's why, like, whenever I meet somebody, I'm gonna swear. I'm gonna talk the way I talk, because I don't want you to be like, "Oh, like, where are these swear words coming from? Or where's this mindset coming from?" Like, I'll talk to you how I talk to you, like how I am because I want you to like me for me. And if you don't like how I talk, if you don't like how I like curse or anything like that, then we know right there, you know, because I'd rather you be like, yo, I don't like that you do that. I'll be like, cool. My biggest thing is like, I love tattoos. I'm going to keep getting tattoos. My next tattoo is my whole neck. And some girl was like,
that's a good one.
She was like, a neck tattoo? What are you going to do about it? I was like, I work for myself. I was like, I don't have to worry about
no one even cares anymore.
Yeah, and like people don't care. Like, so I was like, and if they don't want to work with me because of a tattoo and not because of skill, I was like, that's not the person I want to work with.
You don't want to work with them anyways. You know, yeah, you have to be authentic. You have to be yourself. Like on Hinge, it's just so interesting because like I don't even like the, hey, how are you? Because it's like, there's no effort behind that. You know what I mean?
So I actually...
Let me see what... I'm going to open up my Hinge right now. We're going to see real quick the guys who I've actually had a conversation with.
Before you get to that, so another thing that I told the guy, I was spitting game to him. I was like, bro, this is how I've done it. Obviously, it's worked because, you know, it's worked. I told him, I was like, I usually don't slide into a girl's DMs and be like, hey, girl, like, what's up? How's it going? Like, it never works. Imagine how many...
It's weird.
Imagine how many guys that have done it, though. So I usually wait until, like, I'll go through their profile. I know it's a little creepy-ish, but I'll go through their profile and, like, look at certain things they like, right? So I remember this girl, she, like, liked this certain artist. And I noticed it because she would, like, post something here, posted something here. And then finally, when she posted a story about it, I knew, like, what to have a conversation about. Because I was like, oh... like, did you know so-and-so? And she was like, oh, yeah, like this. And all of a sudden the conversation, it led to like it was a longer game than like an instant gratification. Like I knew that I could get her if she just gave me the chance.
You're patient.
It wasn't more of a like, I'm just going to be like, hey, yo, what's up, girl? I'm trying to holler at you. No, like I was like, let me figure out how I can get her into a conversation.
What does that even work for? Like you know what I mean? I can't imagine. Like me, it's like song lyrics. Look, like I like songs. Clearly, I like song lyrics. If someone writes that, then I'm all about it. Apparently,
like oh my god, that's what's his name? Morgan what? What the fuck is that?
Oh god, Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, Morgan Wallen.
Morgan Wallen. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. It's like. The ones who like actually like say something or they'll like ask me a question about like a funny thing about my job, you know, like even though they see registered nurse and they go crazy on Hinge. Yeah, I don't know why, guys. You guys have a thing for nurses.
So, guys, what you guys take away from this is don't just be creepy and be like, yo, hey, what's up, girl? Let me holler at you.
Be yourself.
It doesn't work like that. And like it's funny because I tell people what I do. Not like I'm like literally this is what I do. Like I never. It's never a short game because if you slide into somebody's DMs and instantly be like, yo, what's up, girl? It's probably never going to work unless you look like freaking, like if you're a Brad Pitt type of dude, like, of course it's going to work. You know, like the girl's going to be like, what's up, guy? Like, what's up?
Yeah, like, hey, Brad.
I was like, but you need to figure out how, like, to get her attention because if I can get somebody's attention, you're going to fall in love with me. Like, that's it.
Mm-hmm. That's what I say.
And so I was
that's
like...
what I always say about my celebrity crushes. I'm like, God damn, if they just gave me one chance, they would love me.
Oh, I'm telling you right now, if Rihanna ever gave me the time of day,
yes.
I'm telling you right now, she would be having that second baby with me, not with ASAP.
That's what I tell people all the time. Not about Rihanna, but like Chris Hemsworth and stuff. I'm like, if you just gave me one chance.
Yeah, that's what it's funny because I told my buddy that and I was like, we just have to be in the same room. If we were in the same room, I guarantee you I could get her.
Game over.
I was like,
game over.
So be yourself, but also don't fake something because a lot of people fake who they are in a relationship and it ends up not working because of that because eventually you become the person you actually are. Even the girl. You know, everybody puts on a fake front in the beginning, and I've done it too before. Don't get me, like, I'm not going to act like I've never put on a fake front. Like, I was, like, super perfect. Like, I'm this man that everybody wants to date. Yeah, we've all done it. But it's never worked out because eventually you're like, well, I'm tired of this shit. Like, you know, like, that's not who I actually am.
What do they say, like, 3 months in? Like, the true personality comes out? That's, like, a statistic, right? They say, like, 2 to 3 months in, like someone's real personality comes out. And that's typically why people don't date longer for like 3 months nowadays.
Exactly. Because you want to put a fake front in the beginning. And like I said before, it doesn't work out. Like if you put on a fake front, because how long can you put this fake front on? You know, how long am I going to try to act like I'm funny, but I really don't like to be funny? Or if I'm this super motivated entrepreneur that likes to do all this, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you're really not that, you know, because me, I prefer, like, I'm in my studio right now, like 95% of the time, either here or with clients, like, and people think I'm lying about that, like, you know, like it's the truth. And then I'm also,
that's also why I started giving, like, it's very few because I don't like everyone knowing so much stuff about me. My Instagram is like predominantly women, like it's pretty much all women. Like that's my demographic. But if there's like a guy that I'm like talking to, I do offer up my social media to some because I wanted them to see that like I'm a working mom.
Yeah.
Like if I give you time, you better be grateful because I have so much other shit going on. But like, you know, I want them to see like the real me. You know, like this is what I have to do. I'm a mom. I work. I commute. I have to go on these stories. This is like what I have to do.
Yeah.
So if you can't accept this, because a lot of guys can't, then that's fine.
That and they get intimidated. Recently, a lot of questions that have been popping up on my TikTok is, will a guy feel intimidated by a girl that's doing better than him? And yes, they will, because, like, to me, if a girl's doing better than me, I'm like, I'm doing something wrong. Like, I need to kill it, because if she's doing...
See, I have a different take on that.
No, because I'm more motivated on, like, all right, she's killing it, I got to kill it too. Not to be like, I'm trying to one-up you. It's more like, you're killing it this much. Like, what am I doing wrong that I'm down here still? Like, let me figure out how to get here because you got here. It motivates me. That's why I like talking with people, like, especially entrepreneurs, because especially the one, like this dude that I was talking to the other day, he has like 30 plus businesses. Every month he brings in like $15 million like a month.
Oh my God.
And I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's more like that. But some guys are going to be like, oh, well, like she's too independent for me. I'm out, you know, and that's not how it should be.
Do you think that's a real thing?
What?
Like, I've heard that a lot.
Oh, guys will get intimidated by that because the guys are supposed to be the alpha, right? Like,
one guy told me, he said, I respect you so much. You're so like this. You're so like that. You work so hard and you're a mom. He goes, I'm not going to lie. He goes, you're my role model. I was like, oh, that's sweet. But you don't want to be with me.
Yeah, see, some guys get intimidated because imagine it has another thing to do with ego. Imagine them going to their parents and be like, yo, I'm like, say me right now, right? And I'm like, hey, I'm dating Rihanna. Isn't she a billionaire? You know? And then instantly your ego is like, you know what I mean? So like guys' egos are very fragile, like very fragile.
So what you're saying is I need to be with someone richer than me.
No, not just richer. You need to find somebody who's confident. Like confident.
That's my thing is like, I'm by no means a millionaire, but my goal is to be very comfortable financially. I'm in a very good position now. I've always known I'm not meant to live like a mediocre life. I've always known that about myself, and I know I'm going to exceed. Like it's happening before my eyes. But I've never been one to be like, I want to be with like a wealthy man. Yeah, I'm just more like, I want to find a good person, and if he grows with me,
exactly,
that's beautiful. That's literally that would be it. So it's so weird to me that like guys, maybe not you, but most of them, like some of them that I've talked to, I think when I give them my Instagram, when they see all the things I have going on in my life, like they shut down. Yeah, they really do.
Yeah, because like I mentioned it before, like trust me, it's happened to me too. Like guys' egos get hurt very easily. Like our egos are super fragile. If you like, that's why like I'm sure you've seen it. Like when a girl and a guy break up, the girl is all of a sudden like dating somebody else, and now the ex is super crazy. Why? Because his ego got hurt, knowing the fact he thinks that person cannot make her happy. You know, like nobody's gonna make you happier than I did. You know, and so I'm gonna try to like, they'll flip out, they'll like go crazy and stuff like that. It's because it's our egos. Like our egos will make us go crazy. You know what I mean? So.
So that's so unfortunate.
It is, and so, and I also tell people, it's funny because I had a girl message me, and like, she was good looking. Don't get me wrong, but I wasn't judging her by where she worked. But so I give
Did she work?
I give this scenario. Like say you're working at, like you're doing what you're doing, right? And I'm over here making minimum wage at Burger King. you're not gonna give me the time of day. You're gonna be like, this dude's like working at Burger King like at minimum wage. You know what I mean? And so, why is it bad that I think the same way? You know, like this girl's over here, like if she had no ambition, she had no ambition, no drive to like make shit happen for herself. Why am I gonna date her? Like she's working at Burger King. You know, this girl's not working at Burger King, but I'm just saying as an example.
But you know, they say there's a study out there that says that men, you guys don't care. Women care more where the guy is financially. But it was on TikTok. You know, TikTok, like there's podcasters that like review studies, and it pretty much said that men don't care where a woman is financially because, they just don't care because they think that they're supposed to like provide for them. But actually, you know,
they just want to hook up.
This is just probably. This is just also like some guys have like really weird, like they want to take care of a woman, but maybe like to the extreme. You know what I mean? Like they want to have control. It is definitely a form of control. Like growing up, my mom always told me, make your own money, have your own purpose, because she got left by my dad with 3 kids and she didn't work at all. Yeah. So you know what I mean? So she always told us like, make sure you have your shit together. And we always did. But I was going to say something funny, but now I forgot. Never mind.
It's like threw you off track. But yeah, so me, I'd rather be with somebody. I'm not saying like I'm trying to find somebody who can support me. I'm saying like I want to find somebody who has, even if you're focused on like fitness, something, if you're focused on a career of fitness, whether you have your own job, then you understand how busy I get. That way you're not like, oh, he's always gone. Like he's always doing this. He's always doing that. Like he's never has time. Like I literally kind of like you when you said like, when I make time, I need you to, I'm not saying like appreciate all the time I give you. I'm saying like I moved around a lot of things in order to like hang out with you, and then like you sit there on the phone, like that's very upsetting to me. Like it's like
you don't value my time.
Exactly. Like especially like when you know like I had to move this, I had to do this, like, and then like you like I had to get a sitter, like I had to do all sorts.
I will say I will never get a sitter.
No,
I won't. Fuck no.
Definitely
not for a first date. Definitely not for a second date. Like, you got to be someone real cool for me to take away time from my kids.
So you wait until you don't have your kids?
Absolutely.
Oh, there you go. Make them wait for you. That's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely. I have never hired a sitter. Ever. Go. Yeah, well, I just can't. No one has like shown up for me in that way where I'm like, this is my time with my kids. And even my mom, you know, my mom watches my kids a lot.
Yeah.
My mom has never watched my kids for me to go out on a date. Ever. If I'm at my mom's house with my kids, I'm there.
Cool. All right. So I have one more question before we go, since we just brought up kids, and that was another question on my TikTok. Because there's no handbook for this. I always tell people it's like based off like how you feel, how you feel towards the person and things like that.
I know what this question is.
It's like,
when are you going to ask when do you introduce the person to the kids?
Yes.
I had a very different opinion of this up until very recently. So I used to say a year, and it was because of like, that's what I was told. That's what I felt comfortable with. But now I say as soon as possible. And the reason I say this is because like the guy that I was seeing last year, when we got back together and started like hanging out, one day he was like putting together some equipment at my house, and he, I had to go pick up my kids from daycare. And he was like, but I'm not done putting the equipment together. And I said, you know what? Like, first of all, if I were to I can introduce my kids to my guy friends all the time, or my friends that are married.
Yeah.
I introduce my kids to their husbands all the time. If I just introduce you as a friend, that's a lot different. I don't introduce people to my kids and then like make out with them in front of my kids. That's going to confuse my son.
Yeah.
But if I'm like, hey, this is my friend, then that's okay. But I went to pick up my kids and I came back and my kids met him. And I think it's more important. Women need to think about this. Some guys, and my patients have told me this too, some guys will meet your kids and they'll get overwhelmed. And as much as they like you, they want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
My patient told me that her boyfriend, they got back together years later, but she said he came, he spent the night, met my kids, heard my daughter cry at night. The next day he said, I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. I say it more so you don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Because guys will tell you, oh no, people love single moms apparently. Oh, I love single moms. Moms are so hot, and then the minute they start dating a mom, they don't know what to do with us.
Single
They
moms
have
are
no idea. Yeah, and then you guys date one, and you guys don't, and you guys fumble.
No, I have.
You fumble so bad.
No, so I actually do very well with kids. I love kids. My mom used to babysit kids all like growing up, so I've been able to get along with kids very well. Like my nephews.
Yeah, but dating someone with a kid is so different.
Yeah. So I also dated girls with kids, and it's funny because they're like, he doesn't like anybody. And then instantly, kid fell in love with me, right?
Okay, when did they introduce you to the kids?
Fairly early because of her situation. It wasn't more like she wanted to wait longer, but she also wanted to hang out with me. And she's like, "Oh, I have my kid." Like, I was like, "That's fine." I was like, "We can hang out some other time."
That's difficult.
And and I was like, "Oh, that's fine." I was like, "We can hang out some other time." And she's like, "You know what? Like, would it be weird if he came with?" I was like, "No, not at all." I was like, "We can go, like, instead of going here," I was like, "Let's go here so kid can hang out, like play games and stuff like that." And she loved that. And kid fell in love with me, right? But the only thing that she didn't like, this was another question based off of that. So we had him in the back seat, and like he had his toys and everything, like he was playing and stuff like that. And I've never talked back to this kid like at all. But he was about to like smack the shit out of her on the back of her head with a toy. And I was like, no, like don't hit her, because obviously you don't hit people with your toys. And she got so upset that I told him that. And she's like, "That's not your kid. That's not how you talk to them." I was like, he was about to smack the shit out of your head, like your head.
That's so tricky. That's tricky.
So for you, how is it okay? Like, is it okay? Is there a certain like? It's hard to explain.
I tell people, no, I'm very different. So even my family knows with my kids, I baby my kids.
Yeah.
My kids I just do. Like, I nurture them a lot because as much as I love my family, they didn't raise me that way. It was more like, stop crying, snap out of it. So I'm very different with my kids, especially my son, But I tell people all the time, like, my family knows that they can't talk to my kids a certain way. Like, everyone, it's a joke in my family. Oh, no, don't talk to Janet's kids. She'll bite your head off because they're my babies. You don't talk to them. But when it comes to discipline, I tell people all the time, if you feel like you need to discipline them because you see them doing something wrong, you're not allowed to hit them, but raise your voice. My little brother, everyone knows it. My little brother even, they're like, look at me. I'm like, raise your voice at him. If you see him doing that, raise your voice at him. Like, that's it. And everyone knows, like, they're allowed to, even their daycare teacher. And if I was dating a guy and my son did something, I would want my son to see, like, a strong man next to me. That would be the purpose of me bringing that guy around, right? I would want my son to see that strong man and be like, oh, no, this is someone that's protecting my mom.
Yeah.
And that's it. I wouldn't mind, honestly. But I think people are different. If you hit someone's kid, that's different. But like, no, raising your voice. I tell people all the time, you're allowed to discipline my kids. 100%.
Yes, it's funny because I'm the same way with my nephew. Like, I baby the shit out of my nephew. Like, he is like, I will protect him at all costs. Like, both my nephews. Like, I will protect. I don't care. Like, I remember one time this kid accidentally pushed my nephew, and I got so mad. Like, so I wanted to beat up the little kid because I was like, "You don't push my nephew," and but I didn't, obviously. But at the same time, like, I know it's not my kid, but I still, like, if he's acting up, trust me, I'm like, "Hey, no." Like, that's not what you do. And that's basically what I did, because I've never put my hands on kids. I've never spanked them or anything like that. But this girl, she got so upset that I raised my voice at her. I was like, he was about to hit you over the head with a toy.
Yeah, some people aren't okay with that. I would ask a woman, like, how comfortable are you with, like, me intervening? But I tell people right off the bat, if you need to discipline my kid, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, see, that was more 100%. of a, I didn't even think about it. It was more of like, that's a toy.
That's my point. Like you don't hit people.
You don't hit somebody over the head with a toy. Especially he was like throwing a tantrum because he didn't want to leave, obviously. Like, we were like playing games and stuff like that. So he was throwing his tantrum, and which I'm fine because I've seen kids throw tantrums. You just know there's nothing you can say or do that's going to make him feel better unless you go back inside. But he's going to throw his tantrum. So I was like fine with it. The only time I was not fine was like when I saw him like wind up about to hit her over the head with the toy. And that's when I was like, no. And she got so mad at me for that. She's like, that's not your kid.
How did you recover from that?
After that, I was like, you know what? Like, this is not really it. Because, You know, there was a bunch of other drama. That relationship. That's why I said like don't force anything, because I kind of forced that relationship thinking that I needed somebody, and so I kind of like everything I wanted in a girl I threw out the window. Basically, like
you settled.
Yeah, I settled because
We
I'm
all
like
do it.
maybe I'm like too high maintenance. Maybe I'm asking for too much, you know, and so
No.
so I'm like, you know, I'll give her a chance, and I gave her a chance, and like it was not it, you know, and I realized that super quick, and that's why I'm glad it didn't work out, because that was not it. Like
you probably would have a lot of problems down the line with someone like that, you know?
Yeah, and one thing that really stuck in my head and it still sticks to me this day, she's like, I'm so drunk right now. I love being drunk. And I was like, why? You know, like...
That's a problem.
Yeah, I was like, that's a problem. That's not like you love being drunk. I was like, I think you have a problem. You know?
Yeah, no, those are all problems. But as far as like when to introduce someone to your kids, I say early on. I go more off of the guy's comfort. But I also, like I said, I thought about it very differently the past few months. I want someone to see my life fully.
Yeah.
You know, if I decide to date someone, like really date someone and bring them around my kids, I'm not just fucking around with them. You know what I mean? But if I'm like, hey, I see a future with this person, okay, I'll bring them in a couple months in. And I've only done this with one guy. And this is where I learned. I was like, oh, look, like, see, as much as he said he was down, as much as he was like, I respect you, this and that. The minute I brought him into my life and he saw like the nighttime routine, which is like the easiest thing ever, he got overwhelmed. And I was like, I don't want someone who gets this overwhelmed. Like I need someone who like calms me and like levels me. So I was like, okay, Janet, this is a lesson for you. Next time, if you see a future with someone, bring them around your kids, even if it's like at the park or something, and not like this is mommy's boyfriend, like this is mommy's friend.
Yeah.
You know, and I want him to see that like what my life is like. Because at the end of the night, I was like laying down. I was so tired. And he's like, oh, man, you're really tired, huh? And I was like, yeah. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, dude. Like, and then I got to wake up and do this all over again. And I think he was younger than me.
Yeah.
So I think he's like, oh, yeah, no.
Yeah, some guys aren't ready for that like type of commitment. Because I remember when...
But they think they are. That's the problem.
I remember when I started dating this girl in the beginning, and like I saw how tired she was, like dealing with him all day. Because, you know, like 2-year-olds, they're not...
They're constant, man.
Yeah, you can't be like, hey, sit there and not do anything. They're not going to sit there and not do anything. My nephew right now, he's in his 2s right now, and he's all over the place. But you could tell, like, she was, like, over it. And I was like, oh, like, well, we're out here at the park. Like, let me just... we were all playing volleyball and stuff, and they're like, hey, come play. You're on this team. I'm like, I'm going to come hang out with this... I don't want to say his name, but I'm going to come hang out with him for a little while. I was like... obviously, like, she's over here stressing out, so like I'm gonna come play with him, because obviously he likes the attention, and so like a lot of guys aren't ready for that. They like their freedom. They like their my ex from Dallas, she had 3 kids, you know, and so like,
oh my god,
yeah. So like kids have, like, I'm telling you, like when I say it, I'm not joking. Like I love kids. Kids are awesome. No, I don't have any of my own, but
yeah, I think you have to really like. I would hope that, like, even for me, I'm like, even if someone isn't ready for my kids, I would hope they're like, damn, I like Janet so much that I want to, like, make the shift and, like, really try to work this out with her. You know, I don't need them to be perfect around my kids or know how to deal with my kids. It took me, my God, my son's 5. I'm barely learning how to talk to that kid. You know what I mean? So I just think if someone puts forth the effort, that makes a difference, you know? But when someone sees literally an hour of me with my kids and gets overwhelmed, you got to just tell yourself, like, that's not the person for you. Because then imagine you have kids with that guy.
Yeah, they're going to be...
What are you going to do?
They're going to check out instantly. That's why I don't understand. Like, a lot of these guys will just... I mean, I can't tell people how to parent either, but they'll just, like... The kid gets upset and they'll be like, give it to the mom, and they'll just be like, deal with them, and they'll go do their thing. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, aren't you supposed to help? You know what I mean? Like, isn't this... You help make them.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think about that. You see how they are with your kids. So I don't think you have to wait like a year. Also, like, who gave us that number?
That's
you know what I mean?
That's why I always tell people, they're like, how long do you have to date somebody before you can make it official? And I'm like, it all comes down to like what you feel is right. Like if you feel like this person is going to be with you, and if they haven't asked you out, tell them, be like, yo, like, are we going to date or what? Like,
Exactly.
Because
I know people who have gotten married like 2 months into knowing each other, and they've been together for 20-something years.
Yeah.
Like, I literally know people like that. And then I know people like, my sister was with her ex-husband, I'm not kidding, for almost 10 years. Boyfriend, girlfriend, 10 years. They got married. Within 2 years, they were divorced.
Yeah. And it's funny because one of the questions I recently answered, they were talking about how they were in a 20-year situationship. And I'm like, why? 20
years? Yeah, that's their fault.
Why? Like, at 1 year, I would have been like, if I'm not feeling this person at 1 year, I'm out. Like, you know, and you should have been the same thing. Like, after a year, you should kind of gauge if this is going where you want it to go. If not, you know, make the change.
I don't think I would let a situationship go on for a year.
After a year, you're more than likely going to be stuck in that situationship. You know what I mean? Like, it's never going to...
Yeah, that's my point, is you got to value yourself. You got to place yourself at a higher... Look, I've been in a situationship. It's shitty. I completely understand. It's god-awful.
Yeah,
so I get it. It's so easy.
And I understand because I actually put people in situationships. That's why I'm like, I can't be doing this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I can't be doing this stuff because at the end of the day, you're just hurting more people than... and it's stressful too, you know, trying to keep this going and then trying to talk to this person, trying to like have a whole bunch of different things going on. It's stressful. So I was like, nah, I'm just going to focus on me. You know, that's why I've been single for like a little over 2 years now, just because I'm just...
That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm just like, I just need to focus on myself. And as soon as I started focusing on myself, like, one, I became happier. And two, like, everything else that I had just grew, you know, like, because I was able to focus on the business, focus on me, and it just grows. And then people were like, oh, how do you do it? I was like, well, it could have been, I'm not only that I'm super motivated, but I was single the whole time. Like, you know, that could help, just because all the previous relationships have just been kind of toxic, you know, not really.
I call them energy vampires.
Exactly.
They like drain your energy.
Yeah.
And it's so potent, but we get stuck in it, and then we realize, like, there are breakups that, like, I went through, like, not even people that I was official with, like, just dating, where literally my bosses know I wouldn't show up to work for 3 days.
Damn.
My boss would call me and I'd be like, I just don't want to get out of bed, because that person just drains you, and then you're like in this like spiral. So like coming out of it, I was like, I made a promise to myself, like late last year, I was like, no more of this bullshit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you fucking wake up, you go to work, you pay your bills. You can have boy problems, Janet, but you're not going to have bill problems. Like, that's not going to fucking happen.
And then eventually...
So then even whatever I went through, I was like, I would wake up and I'd go to work and I'd be like, good job. You went to work.
And then eventually, if you find somebody, you'll find somebody along the way. You won't be like with these people that you call, like, would you call them vampire?
Energy vampires.
Energy vampires.
They suck the energy out of you.
Yeah, I can relate to that all too well. But anyways, we've been going on for almost 2 hours, but it's been fun. Hopefully we can do these a lot more. That way we can sit here. Next time I'll bring some questions from the actual TikToks or my Instagram.
I can always do a little. I can always do a little anon box too. You know, people get a little crazy with those.
And then hopefully we can actually do an in-person one, because I like those, just so we can get like your perspective.
If you're ever in LA, I'm not coming out to Idaho for.
Oh yeah. I don't blame you not coming out here. Not a lot of people come out here, and plus the people that do end up falling in love with Idaho actually. So.
I've actually heard.
We don't need no more California people out here.
I've heard that. I was about to say that, but I didn't want to say it. I was like, I heard you guys don't like Cali people.
No, not at all. Because we actually went from affordable living to now it's just like, dude, like, that's how much the house costs? Like,
it's Cali, baby. It's Cali money. It's like gangster money.
Yeah, because they sell their home over there and then come buy a mansion over here, and then the prices just skyrocket, and you're just like, what the fuck happened? So,
that's Cali for you. Beverly Hills.
But anyways, hopefully we get to do this again. Thank you again for sitting down and chatting with me. This has been fun.
I appreciate it.
These 2 hours flew by. You know, I don't want people to sit through like a 3-hour podcast, but definitely we'll do this again. So
we will. Thank you guys.
For you guys listening, we'll catch you guys in the next one. See you guys.
Man, you talking to the real me. Yeah. Man, you talking to the real me. Yeah. Man, you talking to the real